All things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful for me, but not all things edify. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 23. You know, not to alienate all of our listeners right off the bat, but I was playing Pokemon Go yesterday with Erica. It was Valentine's Day. You know, we're recording here on the 15th. I caught 2 full odds shinies in one day. I couldn't believe it. One of them was a Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff's one of my favorite Pokemon. I couldn't believe it. There it was. The other one for you Pokemon fans was Furfro, if I'm saying that right. So the shiny version is like a black poodle. So I had to give it the heart-shaped haircut because that's unlocked right now because it's Valentine's Day time. I figured if I got the shiny one, how could I not give it that haircut? And I made sure
you can give it a haircut?
Yeah, so the poodle Pokemon, you can give it poodle haircuts. So that's what the Candies does instead of evolving them. There's different haircuts.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was from the X and Y era of Pokemon, I believe, because it was like France. So the poodles, you can give them poodle haircuts. So that was like
French poodles.
Yeah. It would make sense that the French would have the most lame thing ever added to Pokemon.
Oh, well, it's the Japanese interpretation of what's French, to be completely fair.
So they just think
stereotyping.
Well, I think as New Yorkers, we should be really offended by Pokemon because the beta names for coughing and wheezing, which those of you who don't know, like it's like a poison Pokemon, were New York and LA.
I mean, I get it though.
I'm just saying.
Well, it is pretty, yeah.
Makes sense.
So today we're not just talking about Pokemon, but we're going to be talking about the church condemning certain things that it should not necessarily be condemning and other things that the church should be condemning. And I think, you know, we through the generations, you know, there's always been like, you know, a main thing, but I'm Blade O'Neill, and joining me as always is my brother Lance.
How's it going?
And my brother in Christ, Dustin C. Smith.
Hello.
And I guess we're not coming off a hiatus now, but we record these episodes all together, so it throws me off. So, and if you're listening and you don't watch this on YouTube, I encourage you to watch the YouTube because I'm going to take the time to open up Pokemon cards throughout this episode. If you haven't figured it out by now, I've been a fan of Pokemon since it came out, since I was a kid.
Which, hopefully, when we're airing this week, is what's going on this week.
Yes. So the release of this episode on that Monday, upcoming on the 27th, is Pokemon Day. So Pokemon Day is coming out this week. That means that is the 30-year anniversary of Pokemon since it was released in Japan.
That's older than me.
Crazy.
They're supposed to be announcing.
Just kidding.
It's older than me.
No,
I'm just kidding.
There should be announcing the new Pokemon games this week, which I am very excited about. I might get a little tear in my eye because I really like Pokemon, and there's rumors that they're going to release some of the old games, which I've heard that too. I'm particularly excited about, and
my son's
excited. Know. You hit a certain age and you just go back and play the old games. I find more often on my new consoles, I go back and I'm replaying GoldenEye from the N64 right now. I'm in the middle of that. When I was sick, I played Pokemon Snap for the N64. I ran through that whole thing.
I mean, there's a few things for that. It's like, you know, the nostalgia is the obvious.
Yes,
you know, it's like, oh, the memories and oh, this was so fun. And then,
but they're also fun games.
They are fun games, but also most of the stuff that comes out these days is garbage. So it's just, you know, it's lack of being able to find a good game.
Yeah, and that's why we're doing a Christian podcast now and not about pop culture. I'm opening my first pack here. I won this as a prize pack from playing Pokemon. I forget what's really good in this one, and I don't know the order of these things if there's going to be any good. So I got some trekking shoes, and all these are going to have the special stamp. Oh, Ultra Ball, that's a competitive card, so that's fun to have. A little variant of the... I didn't realize how awkward this was going to be to try to also look while showing. Got electric, so we've got a Drifloon. I like the ghosts. And I guess that was the big one. No, got nothing.
Wah wah.
Wah wah.
It happens.
It happens all the time. But those are all fun.
Well, that's it. I'm done with this.
I actually haven't even been collecting the new set.
Well, it's hard.
Yes, it is hard, and I think that was part of it. It took the fun out of it, but not to go too far off topic. I think I was kind of lucky because I went to a private school, so there was a church tied to it. My church and school did not call Pokemon demonic. We were
the pocket monsters.
Yes, we were not allowed to bring the Pokemon cards to school, but that was more of, they're little kids and they're trading and then they cry and they lose one or something happens or this one gets stolen.
It's still an issue.
I'm sure. Are there any other issues without going
with the Pokemon card? No, it's just mainly
with anything. Is there anything right now that you're experiencing?
No, it's just more so like the fairness of trade. Like, I gave you $5 and you gave me these 2 cards. I'm like, dude, like, why'd you give him $5 and why? Or I want these cards, and then you gave me bad cards, or this one's bent, or this one.
Well, this is a fake. This isn't even a real.
Yeah, this isn't real. And so it's
we have fake cards.
Yeah. So it's just the idea of like, you shouldn't be having a ring at like school of like, we have kids that are like, hey, I got some snacks in my backpack. You want some Cheetos? Flaming hot. They're the hottest. Or like selling cards and like you can't.
And the parents may not know. And they're just they try to tell them like just do common for common, even if they're paying attention.
Right. I mean, there's harmless with trading, but like as far as like at school, you can't sit there and like set up shop and sell stuff and
but
like that.
But even as a kid though, I remember thinking it was really weird because like you would see on the news and stuff like is Pokemon evil, and you'd see things about like pastors and saying like they evolve and they're monsters. They're pocket monsters and they fight, and there's this and that. But I mean, sure the church doesn't believe in evolution, right? But they're not pro-evolution. It could just as well have called a transformation, and that's actually a more apt
or metamorphosis.
Word. Yeah, or a metamorphosis. Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I think a lot of it is so when Pokemon came out, like it hit the ground running, right? Like super popular, took off,
and
right?
also multimedia. It wasn't just the video game; it became cars. There was a TV show.
Yeah, the TV show right after school. You had, and of
course merchandise.
So when you see something just blow up, like especially if you don't know anything about it or you don't understand, then a lot of times your first thought is, well, let's hold on a second. Let me see what this is about. I got to protect you from this before I actually let you like take it in, So like I think a lot of it started out being precautionary, and then you obviously have the one end of the spectrum that is super zealous, super I don't want to say religious, but like you have like extreme sects of like
I mean, I guess you could even say overly legalistic. I know a lot of people don't like that term, but I mean is over.
Well, it was kind of just, it was more of like reaching,
Absolutely.
A lot of the stuff is like, it would be valid if it was what you're saying it is, but it's not what you're saying it is. Like you're kind of just reaching, you're grasping for straws. When it comes down to at least the Pokemon argument, right? I'm sure there's other things that are more valid, but it was, like you said, there's no validity to the evolution part. There's no validity to like, you opening up a pack and it's going to open a portal to like they say like there was like some crazy stuff that was said back then, and it was just like that's just not how that works.
Well, and it's the thing of it. So it's like it's a almost like a bestiary of creatures, right? And you're collecting them, training them, competing them like in battle, that sort of thing. It's not like you are reciting incantations to make your Pokemon stronger. You're feeding them a berry.
Yeah.
You're,
you're taking care. It's like the same thing as taking care of an animal or
right.
training an animal, right? It's just these animals.
You might as well have the little Tamagotchi thing. Be like, ooh, like,
yeah, and for like the violence part, I mean, sure, but I mean, it's cartoon violence. That's sort of a silly thing to sort of clutch your pearls.
They are also not. They're not killing each other. They're not fatally. They're not stabbed. They're not ripping off body parts. It's like
they're
just. It's like they got tired and they got knocked out.
Cartoon violence, not gore or excessive.
I would say boxing.
Violence.
Watching a boxing match is worse than watching a Pokemon battle.
I mean, there's pretty violent things described in the Bible.
Oh yeah,
you
of
know what I
course.
mean? Like
Just
I'm
a
not
couple.
I'm not saying that we should be
Maybe one or two.
condoning
Yeah.
watching terrible things, but I mean like there's a time and a place, and
Right. You should always guard your heart. You should always not just full on invest in something without kind of seeing where it is. You should always go in with, having that protection, guarding your heart, knowing without just I don't know how to say it, like just taking it in,
and also, more recently back in 16-ish, when Pokemon Go first came out, I saw clips of pastors calling that demonic because they didn't understand, like, look, the Pokemon pop up around you, like this is like demons are all around you, you're capturing these creatures, and I was like it's a game.
It's a GPS system that
Yeah.
knows where you
Like,
are.
do you not
populates.
are you that ignorant of technology that you're just calling this demonic because it knows how to GPS things around you? Like,
I think it's
it's
also just
fascinating.
feeding to people's fears. It makes for good content.
well, that's
You know what I mean? Like
then I question the validity of him as a pastor.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we are called to call out people, false preachers and stuff.
And
like
I
that.
would
Although I'd say maybe not to. I'm not saying that he's necessarily false preaching. He's just maybe just not doing his due diligence or misunderstood, whatever
research.
the case is, right?
it's definitely a bad sign.
For sure. It's definitely because
You're right. I don't know his heart, and I'd have to
diligence-
go back and like find him, and like I don't know. Maybe he's a great pastor, but like
Yeah, but
that's
to play the other side of the coin, it's like if you can't even do your due diligence to speak badly about something, then are you doing your due diligence when you're researching about what you're saying from the Bible?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be fair, there's plenty of big pastors or smaller pastors or whatever that I've heard, 90% of the stuff that they have put out, and I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's, he's pretty spot on. Oh, that's a good. Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah, that's good. And then all of a sudden you hear them say something, and you're like, what are you talking about? Like, just like completely off on this one specific topic. Sometimes it just happens, and I don't know if it's just learning from a certain other person or just hearing something from a source that they would think was like reliable, and they're like okay,
misinformation.
Yeah, you're just like you kind of were led astray by somebody who maybe you shouldn't have. You usually take advice from.
As
but they're
humans,
completely
we're
off.
we're fallible for
sure.
and we can even just get in our own way by accident.
Well, how quick is it? Like I used to be bad at this, where like I would see a reel about something and just get fired up and be like, "Oh, can you believe this?" And then like, maybe I should like research this a little more and see like, oh, this is really what it's talking about. And there's this. So like, I think we as a podcast, we try to, like we obviously have our opinions. We want to have it rooted in the Bible,
Right.
but at the same time, we're going to look at the other side. We're going to look at why do people say something's bad. So then at least we know where people are coming from, as well as presenting where we're coming from.
Well, there's a quote by somebody. It's like if you really are passionate about your stance on something, and you want to know how to argue, the argument against
Exactly.
it. You should be able to
Pick it apart.
Well, just like
what are the best arguments against your belief? You should know what those are and the reason why those are wrong or incorrect or misconceptions or what have you. And then if your belief can't withstand scrutiny, is it a good belief?
Well, it's just like our episode last month, like in January, we're talking about arguments and things like we know what we believe, but until we're confronted with those other things, it's hard to defend.
Right.
Right. And so we have to know the other sides to prepare, almost like preparing for battle, right? To train up, to do, you have to have the weapons for defense. You can't just go in there being like, it's all good. I know I'm right. So
Right.
Yeah.
It helps to.
Well, a lot of part of that, especially when it comes to like backing biblical things or biblical views, there's so much in the Bible that it's essentially like, well, this is true, and then therefore this is true, 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 and we all know it. Like that's all like on our hearts. But sometimes it's hard to on the spot articulate this verse, like because like it's all true, right? The whole thing, but it's hard to be like, if A, then B, then C, then D, and to just come up with that on the fly. It is difficult sometimes, especially when people bring up bigger arguments and they are looking for
like
an
a whole
actual like, but they're also looking for, hey, well,
And
tell me the truth. Like they're actually looking for some. They're not just saying something just to like get you mad or riled up. You know.
Well,
Sometimes.
I mean, look, there's whole, what am I trying to say? Like, not classes, but like, how long do these biblical historians study the Bible for years and years? Like, there is so much to learn,
yeah.
you know,
You spend a
potentially.
lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you should always be reading the Bible.
Yeah, it can't be a one and done thing. You
Yeah.
can't read your Bible and be like, well, I read the Bible. I read it when I was in college. I took some classes. I know some stuff.
Yeah, and don't fall into that. You know, don't just read on Sunday. And I'll tell you right now, I am guilty of that. I when I became an adult, I was like, I grew up in private school. We read the Bible every day. Like, I'm saved. I know, like, why do I have to, you know, I fell for that. You know, I let the devil get to me. And I became a lukewarm Christian. Like, sure, like I believed in God, but what was I doing? Was I actively talking about him? Was I actively trying to convert my friends? Like, I wasn't reading the Bible. I wasn't living the life I was supposed to, you know, like, and I easily fell for that trap. Now, on the, you know, obviously on the other side of all of this, just like you said last episode, anything could become an idol for you.
Exactly.
So if you're hunting Pokemon cards on Sunday when you're trying to find, you know, the latest drop at Walmart or Target, and you're missing
service because
or,
you know the new product's out.
Or maybe you're not giving your tithings because you just blew your money on a case of booster boxes. You know, like, it's, you know, with anything, don't let it become your idol.
Well, same thing with, I mean, playing Pokemon Go. Like, I know it's not as, I don't want to say it's not as popular as when it came out, because like where I work, like I see Saturday's raids and just like people with crossing guard people, and there's like groups of like 80 people walking around. Yeah, it's
That's
still
pretty
it's
cool.
still pretty crazy. And but I mean, like, you go to some people and they're like, "You still play that?" And I'm like, "Hey, you want to be the best like no one ever was. Like, why am I quitting this?"
I still play it, but I do have like my
I'm gonna
little.
have to add you.
Yes, I can't believe that I didn't know he played. I play all the time.
Anymore. I stopped playing like.
It's because you don't
4
want to be
years
the
ago.
best like no one ever was.
I play on and off.
No, once it turned into like, to get the good ones, you have to be with like 80 people. It just turned me off. It just like I don't want to be around people, so
well, we could be spreading the word of Jesus.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I'm trying to get you to play. Well, like you only need like 4, so like, you know, if it's us,
Well, but
we
from the
can go
beginning,
do it.
I don't think it was 4.
You're right.
Before
I think
it was
it
like
was
16, and it's
okay,
like, okay,
yeah,
well,
now-
I don't have enough people.
Now you just need 4.
And then I have to meet these strangers, and sometimes people can be, you're like,
I know
they start getting like weird with you, and you're like, okay, am I gonna?
For those of you on YouTube, I'm opening another.
I always get
one.
concerned. I'm like, well, does this guy just know that there's a raid here, and he has like a gun? He's gonna rob me because he just assumed, you know, like,
He's got his 10 phones out.
Yeah, that.
just pretending to be playing Pokemon.
Gosh, I think it's 4 to the front for this set. This is actually an older set. Like I have some sealed stuff. This is the Chilling Rain set. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna go this way. I never had good luck with Chilling Rain. I'm gonna try to go through this fast so we can.
Well, it's really cold, so that would make sense that your packs would be cold.
Yes. I don't see anything picking out, so we'll see. See if these are any good here.
Well, you're risking.
Oh, look,
hypothermia.
Furfro. We were just talking about Furfro.
Terrible.
That was the shiny one. Here we go. Venipede. My Bounce Sweet's my reverse. And Kecleon.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. I actually haven't opened Pokemon cards since December, I think.
I'm sure there's a lot of people thinking, yeah, I've never opened Pokemon.
Yeah.
I've never opened a Pokemon.
Are you
card.
serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Wow.
Really?
My son has, huh? But
You
I
never just been like, hey, let me rip one?
No, I don't. And I was like,
But come
you do
on,
one bet.
now I feel like you gotta get one. Just because, like, what if you open up one and then you pull like the card, and then it's like you can just be like, well, I've opened up 100% of my packs have been, you know, the best card in the set. You know,
That's true.
That's crazy. Just like I have 2 or 3 undefeated seasons of Fortnite because I played one.
Play one.
I won. And my current season, I'm undefeated because I opened it up, I played, I won. I was like, well, I'm not gonna play now because it's.
I played once and I didn't get it, and I never played after that. Old guy.
I'm over it, but at the time, it was fun. It's the camaraderie. If you don't have someone to play with, Like it's
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
because there's like the three of us and we're going in the house. Is like, oh, here's something. Okay, we gotta hide it. Like I've never had so much fun just hiding in a room.
I mean, the
In a
games,
video
the games. For me, games are just like I'm more about it for the fellowship than I am for like the game itself.
Well, that's why I like the Pokemon Go, like when it was coming out, because me and a bunch of friends, we'd like go to a park and walk around the lake, and then you're sitting there talking while you're catching. And it wasn't about the actual act of the game. It was that you made an excuse to hang out with your friends and go for a walk.
Yep. I was hanging out with my friend's dad because he would get the exercise, and like I was friends with the whole family, you know, and stuff. I would go over there for holidays, but like, you know, we got to just hang out and, you know, walk around the lake, and it was fun.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, it might be weird if it was just the dad. Like, you go to your friend's house, I just want to hang out with your dad.
well, I did that to him. I invited his parents over for dinner, you know, one night, and then he calls me. He's like, Why are you inviting my parents over to dinner? I'm like, what? I can't hang out with your parents? Like, I like them. Like,
Dad's
you can't
cool,
just hang out?
man. Tells me embarrassing stories about you.
I just think, you know, like you make time for, you know, people who are important, you know, and like
Absolutely.
it's trying. You gotta sometimes make the effort, you know.
Right, and I just think, you know, with playing those games too, it's like it's just important to like check yourself or have others check you into like, is this being like a crutch or an idol for me, right? Because like you can have games and it could be more so about just, you know, you're resting or you're having fellowship with one another, right? Kind of like we talked about. Because like for me, and I've been guilty of this in the past, is, you know, I play video games, you know, for maybe a couple hours at night or whatever the case is, and it's kind of like sometimes just like my escape from like, okay, I had a kind of a rough day, whatever. Just play some games, some mindless stuff, get my mind off it, whatever, just relax. But I think when it becomes the problem is that when it becomes that crutch of
Which you've talked about in other
podcasts, right? Like, I had a bad day, I'm gonna go play video games, right? And then instead of being like, oh, I had a bad day, well, let me pray and like put God first, and you can still go play video games and relax. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like,
but that isn't
make
your
sure
go-to.
that that's not your go-to. Like, oh, I gotta play the games, or I gotta drink have a drink, or I gotta, you know, like whatever it is. Like, you just gotta make sure that it's you're in the right place, and then you're also fellowship with other people who are also going to make sure that, hey, you know, you've been playing video games for 8 hours a day. Is everything, you know, like, what's going on?
Your children miss you.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. And to that point too, I don't want to get too off the rails here, but like, it's also important to be careful with who you surround yourself with, you know, who's in your inner circle, you know. And I know I've probably said this many times, but it's something I truly care about, you know, because I'm not into like lots and lots of friends, you know. I'd rather have a few close friends, and, you know, especially, and it's,
You chose me.
I did. Even though we've kind of like known each other for a long time, like we became closer more recently because of, you know, our Christianity, and Lord of the Rings, I think too, is something else we bonded over. Because of all of my close friends, I don't think any of them knew Lord of the Rings. I couldn't talk to them about Lord of the Rings the way like we can talk about Lord of the Rings, you know. So it was actually kind of cool.
Well, it's like the same, like you can have someone closer than a brother, and you actually get your brother. I mean, I think that's a good benefit. You know, the fact that, because a lot of people, like, sometimes siblings are estranged a little bit, or like my case is my brother's in a whole other state, so like I'm sure we would hang out all the time too if we were closer. So like, I think it's cool that like your circle of close friends includes your brother.
No, I think it's cool too. Yeah, and he hangs out with my best friend more now than I do. And they played video games because like
hang out virtually,
okay, but you know what I mean, like, because I do have a small circle, and Lance was part of that circle. Like my high school friends of 20 years, they all know him,
right?
You know, like, and they've accepted him as one of us, you know, which is cool.
Well, I think, part of that goes back to the verse that we opened with, right? Like all things are lawful, but all things edify. Right? It's like, what are you doing, and is it being productive? Like, is it what you're doing? Does it make you angry? Right? Are you just like playing video games, but then you're getting mad, and then you're like treating people like you're cursing people out online and getting, raging and all this other stuff? It was like, well, maybe that's, sure, video games they're okay, or Pokemon's okay. Or are you screaming, yelling at people online because
you're losing to an 8-year-old?
Because you're losing into a Pokemon trading card game online, you're getting destroyed by a little kid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not how you should behave, right? That's not how we're called to behave.
Yeah.
And like, sometimes we also use it to like kind of get rest, right? So, but is it a healthy rest? Is it something that I'm like, okay, well, now I feel rejuvenated, not like, oh, I just spent the last 3 hours screaming on my day off, right? My day of rest.
Yeah.
Because I like to play Pokemon, but it's
and
not,
you're
not
saying
really resting.
terrible things to children online.
Children, yeah. It's like,
to small children. You're a grown man.
I mean, flip side of that coin, some of these kids.
Oh, I know.
Like the first time I went on chat, I can't even say what happened, but you can use your imagination, and I can tell his voice, like that he was really young, and he was saying terrible things. It was like that's a learned behavior, like especially when you're a certain age. Like so I don't know what my point is with that, but
yeah, I mean,
we need more Jesus, I guess, is my point.
Yeah, well,
parents, be a spiritual leader for your children.
For
Do
sure.
not forget.
I think a lot of that too is just obviously the lack of parenting, but also just depending on the age of the kid too. It's like they don't really know what that some of the things that they're saying. They don't really understand why I shouldn't say that. They know it's bad, but they know that other kids do it, and it's just like they think it's funny. Oh, I'm just being like this, like, oh, I'm such a troll, ha ha ha. Like, they don't really know it's like, yeah, that's some crazy stuff you shouldn't be saying.
Like, really crazy.
I mean that's always kind of been a thing. I mean, even on back in the day, playing like Halo 3 or Halo 2, like Call of Duty, there would always be one or two people that you'd be like, the second you get into a match, you're like, okay, mute.
See, I always go right in and turn all excuse me, all of the voice chats off. Like I only with like my friends that's what I want to hear.
Right. Yeah. And that's the fun thing about, some of these games, or Pokemon or Lord of the Rings or trading card game, or not trading card game, Lord of the Rings living card game.
Because that's something we play.
That's something we play, yep. And or video games or in general, is you can also use that time to talk about God, like for some fellowship in Christ too, not just like hey, how's it going? You good? Oh yeah, just
Well, that's kind of
going
how
through this.
That's kind of how prayer. Like we had with this, like we were playing games, talking, having these conversations. We we should be recording these conversations, these topics we're coming up with, and here we are.
Yeah, and that's been refreshing, because it's to Lance's point. Like we do get to enjoy the game, but that fellowship that comes along with it,
right?
That's what makes it like even more special. And so be conscious of who you're surrounding yourself. Like are the people you surround yourself with, like, are they drinking buddies? Or are they building you up? Are they rooting for you? Can you come to them with your problems? Are they still around when you're winning?
Right, because otherwise you're coming together
or not winning.
Right. But you don't necessarily have like, hey, let's all get together and like theoretically talk about things. I mean, obviously you have like Bible studies and things like that.
Yeah.
But to come together and play something or do something together, an activity that not necessarily going out for drinks or whatever, but having an activity, and then these conversations come up that you normally wouldn't be able to talk about because you've allowed that segue by having an activity to start that.
When your activity was just like, hey, let's go hang out, let's just go get some drinks, and then you get drunk, and then it just turns into, hey, yeah, twice a week we're just hanging out getting drunk, and it's like, and we know we're not supposed to be. It's okay to have a glass of wine, right? But you shouldn't be getting drunk. Like, Bible's pretty clear about drunkenness, right? Mm-hmm. So I think, yeah, that's really the whole thing, is like, is that person, they're here and they're just like, well, I just want to have a drink with you. And it's like, well, then you're not helping one another, right? You're not edifying one another, right?
Of course, not condemning having a drink and,
of course not.
hanging out. But
or two. Or,
yeah, I mean, with
Whatever.
everything, is it your idol? Are you getting drunk?
are you drinking for the sake of drinking, or are
Yeah.
you drinking because it's part of fellowship,
Yeah.
part of
Yep.
whatever?
There's a good verse in Ephesians about it.
Let's do it.
All right. Ephesians 5, verse 15. I apologize if I fumble some of these words.
Oh goodness. Oh, I know it. I know the verse. Yeah.
The buffumbled-ness?
See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Therefore do not be unwise, but understand what the will of the Lord is. And do not be drunk with wine, in which dissipation, but be filled with the Spirit.
Wow.
Which is basically a summary of basically everything we just said.
Yeah.
So for some backing, I guess, of
Yeah.
if anyone wants, where you guys are saying this, but where's it?
Where's it? Why are we
where's it
talking
in the
about
Bible,
Pokemon cards and
Where's-
a,
right,
and a
where's
Christian
the biblical
podcast?
backing.
And Blade is
Rooted in the
opening
Bible.
Pokemon cards. And another thing too, especially in the 90s, it wasn't called demonic, but I think some of the churches were worried about Power Rangers just because of the
Really?
violence.
Oh, violence. Okay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that violent. I mean, it was just like
Once
fighting.
again, I would call it cartoon violence. It was no worse than, well, I take that back. I was going to say no worse than wrestling, but I mean like the way the fights were happening, not the content that was being presented. You know what I mean? Like sort of martial arts flipping.
that's
not
kinda silly
gory,
just because,
not
I mean-
gory, not bloody, not
But
it
at the
was
same
very, like,
time, are those same people like they're watching boxing matches? Like those people get knocked out and full of blood, and it's real violence. It's like that to me. That's just
I think it's the
Ridiculously
same
silly.
people that, it's almost get together and be like, what do we want to complain about today? What's my selective outrage for this week? Like what's almost like what popular thing right now, how can we make that be against God? Or how can we twist it and make the most extreme bad thing, a negative thing about it to be like, because obviously everything like we've been talking about like can have negative aspects to it,
sure.
but taking something to the extreme, like, well, it must be this to the extreme. Like it's almost like those extreme commercials, like extreme Mountain Dew. Like, I mean, I don't know, like.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. And
Like exaggeration.
well,
I just think the delivery of the message needs to be changed at least from the church's aspect for some of these things. Just like these things can be an issue if they turn into idols. I think that's really what it comes down to. It's like is the Pokemon taking up your Sunday? Is the
that's
Pokemon
literally anything.
Right.
right? But that's really what it really should come down to, because they just see that, oh my gosh, look at this thing blowing up. It's so popular. And I feel like they're just trying to be like, well, how can I make sure this popular thing isn't going to
Isn't
take over?
better than
And it's like,
God.
well, just let them know, hey, there's this thing. There's some violence, so maybe if you're a kid might struggle with that type of content,
Or maybe they're not mature enough yet.
right?
Because kids
Maybe-
develop at
may-
different
right.
rates.
Maybe you shouldn't expose them to this, and then obviously make sure that it doesn't become an idol to
Right.
your
Like I
children
think
or
you
not.
can be cautionary
Yeah.
without being having the abolishment, because the other thing is
Exclusionary.
when you do that, all you're doing is you're asking for rebellion.
Actually,
In a sense.
I'm glad you said that, because I think one of the main points that I really wanted to bring up was because in this this topic was like, I feel like when you can't play Pokemon, you can't watch Power Rangers, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah, it makes you want to do it.
Well,
You're like, well,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna do it.
the kid she starts to feel left out, and like, I mean, I hate to say it, but like, are you going to start questioning God because like you're over here seeing like, and I'm not saying that we should always be of the world or anything, but like at a certain point, like, you can just let a kid be a kid, and you can really damage that kid by not letting him do like these harmless activities.
Well, and here's
the truly harmless.
Well,
yeah.
well,
The
Right.
truly harmless.
Right.
But here's the thing: is like if you are not involved with your child and their upbringing, then you're being reckless and just allowing them to do so. To just allow them to do Pokemon, do whatever without actually like looking into, like, you should be vigilant and be like, what is Pokemon about? do research, look at it,
Yep.
and then within reason be like, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. I'm going to take you to this place where they play Pokemon, and it's something you can maybe do together to have a bonding relationship with your son or daughter, as opposed to just being like, I just let my kid do whatever. I don't know what they're doing. I don't even know what time they're coming home tonight. Like there's that other extreme.
And now that you've said that, I will flip to the other side of this cautionary tale, because sometimes there are times that you need to stop your kid, or you need to not participate in something. And one of the things I really wanted to bring up, because I have not seen any church or pastor or Christian social post talk about this game. It's called Cult of the Lamb. It's become very popular. I watch a lot of Twitch. That's how I found out about it.
I've never heard of it.
So here's the thing. It's cute, and you play this little, like, I don't remember, it's like a goat, but it's a very like a cute, like chibi style characters and stuff. But you literally start a cult, and I was shocked because there is real satanic symbols and imagery within this, and you have to make sacrifices in your cult to grow demonic appendages and stuff, and like they're using real satanic stuff in it. And that, you should know if your kid is playing that. Like, that is a huge problem. And all of these streamers, some of them, they don't know any better. They just think, I'm being in a cult. This isn't real. But like, the problem is, this is real satanic imagery. Like, this isn't just pretend wizard magic like Lord of the Rings or something. Like, this is not stuff you should be messing with.
Yeah, because not only
or
that,
invite into your
you don't
home.
know what you're opening yourself up to. You don't know what you're
Right,
inviting, whether you're
foothold.
saying it or you're doing it, or and then if you're super into it and then you're too ignorant to buy merchandise now, and then you don't know what's in your house. You don't know what you just welcomed in your home, or what you let come through the speaker. Like, you just don't know what you're dealing with.
Especially if you have visual symbology. And things like
that's just not.
And I mean, if they have pentagrams and all the things that I saw in those first few minutes, what else is being said and done, and what sort of things are coming through your screen? Because like,
I almost feel like the name itself should be like the first red flag, Cult of the Lamb.
it was a red flag, and
and then you're playing a goat
like,
person, and like, it's
or
just,
maybe it was a lamb. I don't.
But either
honestly,
way,
I don't know.
like something starting with cult of and doing whatever that's not generally a game, I'd be like, hey, I might pick that up.
Well, I mean, like, I would hate to be,
Right.
overly judgmental and not, because I mean, I know we disagree about like K-pop Demon Hunters, for example, but like, look into it. Obviously, yeah, Cult of the Lamb, that's a little more.
That's
on the
definitely
nose
just
there.
way
And
too spot on the nose.
Well,
but
I would say even that name is probably kind of blasphemous.
yes,
Because of the lamb is Jesus, right? Usually in biblical symbolism.
I'm just trying to, because it's just weird that it's like an evil game. I don't know the point of the game, so I guess it's hard to judge. Like, you're supposed to get rid of. So I guess you're calling the cult of the Lamb would be Christians, essentially, is what it sounds like, right? You're calling it cult of the Lamb. You're calling Christians cults, is what I would assume, right? The cult of the Lamb would be Christians.
You might be lambs in this, I guess, but there's pentagrams.
Right,
and
but my
demonic
point is the
sacrifices
name
to
of the
go-
game,
yeah.
right, would be the cult of the Lamb. The Lamb is
Yeah.
Jesus, so the cult of Jesus would be us, Christians, right?
Mhm.
And it's not that we are a cult, right? But so it's basically making fun of Christians in the name of the game. So then I assume that the rest of the game is like, how do you get rid of Christians? Is that what you're doing?
Well, unless lamb is like lambs to the slaughter, as opposed, like maybe it's not an actual.
Well, you said that you have to make
Symbol.
sacrifices, right?
Yeah,
So I'm assuming you sacrifice lambs.
I honestly, like, I got to a certain point,
I mean, I
and I
guess we're-
didn't have to do any more research.
Right,
You know what I mean?
I get it. Plus, sometimes like when you're looking at those things, you
don't
want
wanna
to
do a deep
You don't
dive
want to
on
do
that
Yeah,
deep dive on that.
and
surface level is fine. Like, this was bad enough on the surface. You don't need details.
Yeah, exactly. And,
Right.
and another one in that same vein, because this is also another really popular game. It's been very popular for years now. I don't even want to talk about it, but I want you guys to be aware. It's called The Binding of Isaac. reading the plot, because I always knew there was problems with this game. But reading the plot, I found it to be blasphemous. It's supposed to be a cautionary tale against extreme, like a cautionary tale about blindly following your religion without question. And it's supposed to be a jab at Christians. And I saw one of the characters you fight is literally the black goat's head. I don't want to say its name, but the common satanic imagery of that. So I mean, I would say do your own research, but you don't want to do the research. Just I hope that's enough.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm not going to research it.
Yeah, but to my point, like, you do have to still parent. You have to see, because this is another one that looks harmless,
right?
Or looks potentially harmless from the outside because it's just cute little.
Well, that's
you wouldn't think, and that's how the enemy works, right?
Well, and that's how, like, I mean, with YouTube and algorithms, even if you put it in kid mode, safe mode, it doesn't really matter, because even my son, had an issue with something I think it's called like Miss Lemonade.
Yeah,
and that it's about
you showed me. It looks
like a math game, like, and you don't do it quick enough, and it gets angry and angry and looks pretty much demonic. And like, he happened upon it as a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And so he's looking at this imagery, and that was like his first real nightmare.
And to be perfectly clear, it looks like a harmless lemon.
It looks like a cute lemon head type thing.
As you mess up, it transforms and it gets worse and worse. Something like that.
It gets darker and darker, black eyes, and looks looks cutesy. It starts out okay, and then it becomes this thing of like, I'm just gonna, you don't get the answers right, I'm gonna end you.
And I don't know what to describe this art style as, but just somehow I found it just inherently disturbing. Those of you on YouTube, I'm opening up one more pack before we wrap up, and this is
it goes with the popularity of like the whole kind of manga, anime, kind of cute chibi type thing, along with like, Pokemon animation and things like that, like using stuff that is fine and using it for ulterior motives.
I also think when you have other games like Minecraft or Roblox and stuff like that, or even Fortnite, where there's the game, and then there's like, you can go on a server and then they can change the world to like whatever you want. Then all of a sudden you get this crazy demonic imagery, and you're like, what do you? I thought Minecraft, you just walk around, build little buildings, and like eat food. Why is there all this stuff? And it's like, well, there's so many different, like, people, anyone could do like anything in some of those games, and that's something also that you need to be mindful as a parent to like pay attention to what your kid's absorbing.
I made an ad.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really what it comes down to is actually parent your children. I'm going to flip through these real quick here. I guess we're hunting the Umbreon card. We're probably going to get a whole lot of nothing here, but it just feels nice to open a few Pokemon cards. There's Teddy Ursa. Get the Craig. No, here we go. Scraggy, reverse hollow.
Oh, what'd you get?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's a V card. Rayquaza V. All right. I know. I said Rayquaza. I don't care. I don't believe it's Rayquaza because it's QUA. That doesn't make any sense. I don't care if a Pokemon says it or not.
Just like AT-ATs.
He did prove us wrong on that.
That's not true. They said it was both.
No, it's a commercial.
Oh, it still doesn't. I still don't even care, because like when they call the other one an ATST, but then they call the other one that makes zero logical sense.
Well, it's kind of like NASA. Oh, we had this discussion. We had this exact conversation.
Just let me have at it
now.
Cat person.
I think we're at about the time, if I'm not mistaken. I'd love to see what time it is.
Should we? Maybe we can continue that. Maybe continue this next week.
We're going to continue this in a part 2 next week. But we appreciate you all taking the time to listen. Don't forget to share with your friends, family. Especially if you maybe take this opportunity. You have a friend who likes Pokemon, but maybe doesn't know about Jesus. Maybe this can be their gateway episode, and we can start planting the seeds and see that all Christians, like, you don't have to not play Pokemon to be a Christian. That's not what it's all about. Comment your favorite Pokemon if you like Pokemon on this on YouTube. Let's just get some Pokemon names in there.
Ooh.
My favorite one is Mew.
Charmander.
Okay. Do you have a favorite Pokemon?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Well, we appreciate you all taking the time to listen. We love you. Be safe, and God bless.